Namaste, yogis. I'm Annie Carpenter. I teach Smart Flow Yoga at Exhale Center for Sacred Movement here in Venice, California, but I also teach all over the planet. So today I thought we'd talk about the fifth of the five kleshas, the obstacles that yogis use to identify where we get stuck, how we get stuck, maybe is a better way of saying that. And the fifth one is Abhinivesha. It's a Sanskrit word, and it generally translates as clinging to life. This one's a little bit harder, I think, to hold on to intellectually because it is an instinctive hindrance, an instinctive affliction that we all have, right? Every single living cell has this part of it that says survive and thrive even, right? That's just part of life itself. So this is one of those things we can never really get rid of that. And in fact, most of the old scriptures that talk about this concept will say something like, even the wisest of sages will have trouble with this one, right? So it is, it's not an easy thing, but I find it incredibly powerful to consider it, to sit with it, to meditate on it, in terms of bringing a sense of deep acceptance, and I think we can even bring the word equanimity in when we're looking at the benefits of meditating on this concept. So this idea of clinging to life, it gets right down to the root of trusting the basic yogic concept that there is an essence, a divine spark at the center of all living beings that never dies. When we trust that, when that truly is our truth, then the idea that the body will die, or even a loved one's body will die, becomes a little easier to be with, right? That idea of deep, deep grief and longing for life itself, for ourselves, or the life of our loved ones, or heaven forbid our children. That's probably the hardest of all to sit with. Is a really challenging thing for anyone of any spiritual persuasion to be comfortable with. And I think that is not ever going to change. However, to sit with, whether it's a friend who's in a terminal illness, or if you have ever been able to sit with yourself in a moment where there was a depth of fear or pain that made you kind of trip off into, could this be the beginning of the end? Then you know that learning to deal with that part of you that goes off and running in that fear of death is a really helpful thing and contributes so much to our capacity to live with peace, right? So what would it be like for you to, once a day for a moment, perhaps during your shavasana, to pause and to consider that this life as you know it will cease, and yet life itself will continue. That's the work of Abhinivesha. I know it's hard. Hang in there. Stay with it. Thanks for listening. Namaste.